Hey, you! And you! And you! You too. And you, and especially you. Look absolutely wonderful today. That's right, my man. God damn it, you're beautiful. Almost as beautiful as Mad Lad Mike right here. Mad Lad Mike, he likes to get rubbed on the head. He also loves bananas. Eat a banana, Mike. Mike? Eat the fucking Sorry. It's okay, Mike. It's okay. Shh. No one's gonna hurt you. Shh, Mike. Shh. It's gonna be okay. Shh. It's okay, Mike. I really need to get outside more. What up, guys? Mad Lad Mike and Mad Lad Mike here. Coming at you with another tactical map guide. This time we're doing the Blightreaper. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say for this intro. There's a lot to talk about. It's a pretty long map. So for that reason, I'm going to move the hell on. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. Obviously, the thing about the Blightreaper is it's a map that has a lot of darkness, which a lot of people dislike. But this is genuinely one of my favorite maps. I don't think it's as hard as a lot of people put it out to be. It's just that it forces a little bit of coordination and teamwork that otherwise isn't necessarily required. Now, as you can see here, you already here have a patrol trigger. Although that patrol, like, it doesn't spawn close to you, but it can actually come from the front through the little tunnel area. Now, it's important that you understand the sort of geometry of the dark area, because you need to be able to somewhat have a bearing even without having any light. Now, this left part over here is a dead end. There's an art spawn here, but that's about it, and a couple of minions. Also, if you get a horde, some of a part of the horde can actually come from that direction. So when you first enter the room here, it's really easy to navigate simply by saying that the left side, you really just have to run in a straight line, right? So you just follow the boards down, straight line, and then you'll stop being able to move, and then you go a little bit left, and then you can get up. Now, this is one of the default fighting areas and the first respawn area. And one of the places where you quite often, not always, but often have a horde if you're slow that you have to fight. Now, it's also good to know that there is a sort of shortcut over here. From up here, you can do a jump that you crouch and boom, you're up here. Now, there we go. Sorry, camera was a bit of a bad position. Now, it's fairly easy once you get the hang of it. It's a crouch jump, so you have to crouch, and usually I line up with the second board here. You see there are those two boards that are going perpendicular to all the other boards, and yeah, I jump as soon as I'm at that board. That's a good sort of indicator for when to jump, and then it's a pretty easy and consistent jump. Now, you don't want to rush ahead when you do this, because, you know, most of your team most likely aren't going to do it, but it can be a good idea because it gives you a good positioning to clear out from the top while your team are moving in from the bottom. So it's one way to do it. Obviously, you want to fight near the light when you can. Now, the thing about the torch is that I also mentioned in another video, I think the most recent Engines of War one, is that it actually follows you once you've picked it up. Which means even if you're not going to bring both torches, it's important that one player has touched each torch and at some point, you know, picks up the torch, and that way you can drop it and leave it, and it will spawn on you once you get far enough away. Obviously, this area here is where you want to wait for your team, right? Up here is a really good spot for fighting stuff, because you have both, like you have a downhill on one side, and you have the climbing animation up on the other side. As you can see here, potions on the right side, and there the torch followed me, as you can see. And of course, if you have a battle wizard, which you won't always have one, but obviously, if you do, it's a really good idea to use the staff to light up. It's easiest with the conflag, but you can use other staffs as well. It's just that some of them you have to actually hit minions for it to work. Now, obviously, hordes and stuff are going to come from behind here, as well as the front. Just going to remove those. Now, it's a good idea to throw the torch forward. You don't want to fight on the torch, you want to fight slightly behind the torch. So it can be a good idea to actually just throw it forward. Obviously here is really good positioning for a battle wizard, but also if you have like a huntsman or a waystalker perhaps. There's a fixed spawn here, barrel. Now it's not always an explosive, sometimes it's a fire barrel, but I'm pretty sure that's a fixed spawn in terms of barrels. And you always want to start out by going left. There are a couple of reasons for this. First of all, your positioning is way better. It's way stronger. There's a corner, like 2 corners here, both of which are really good for fighting, where you want to keep your sort of squishy players in the back and have like someone to keep some distance on each side, right? Same here. Really good spot. And also there's a bunch of potion spawns here. So it's a really good idea to go this way regardless. And then you can sort of move over here and check here, because there are no potion spawns in the hallway connecting these 2 areas, so you always want to take the longer path here. That's the safer option. I like to throw the torch over here. Of course, always check for items on this side here. And if you have to fight, then either of those 2 corners on the left side, they're both fine. Now, it's a good idea if you push down here to just go back up and, you know, make sure that your team can make it. But if you get that patrol trigger that you saw over there, that's going to spawn a little bit further ahead right here, as you can see. So you want to watch out for that. There can be a patrol walking up from this area that you can aggro down in that tunnel where you went to the left. Now, as you can see here, 2 patrol triggers and 2 boss triggers, one of which just triggered. Now, when you trigger this boss, like one of the reasons you want to make sure you're always close to each other is if this happens, everyone has to drop down immediately. Now, I think a lot of players lose due to aggressive bosses in this particular area, right? The Rat Ogre, Chaos Spawn, or the Minotaur. Even the Troll can actually be extremely annoying here. And really what it all comes down to is controlling the boss. Of course, you all know the Rat Ogre by now. You've most likely seen how to control the Rat Ogre. But it's important that everyone else clears out the space. Now, I fucked that up right there. But you want to be quick here. You want to make sure that the space is cleared out as quickly as possible if you don't have aggro on the boss. And if you have aggro on the boss, you simply want to move in a circle, right? Until you find an opening to revive someone, if they're dead, of course. Otherwise, you just want to keep going in a circle. But in order to be able to utilize this full circle, the area has to be clear first, right? And preferably lighted up as well. So, there's an art spawn there, just for info. Now, personally, I like to go clockwise around when I'm dodging. But sometimes if you get one of these triggers and the boss comes from the front, you can also go counterclockwise. Like, there's nothing inherently bad about that in this particular area. It doesn't make a big difference, because there aren't that many places where you can actually get an animation from the boss. The important thing is just that you don't get stuck anywhere. That's the most important thing. And that you don't have a horde spawn behind you without any help to clear it. That's really what it comes down to, that you don't move into one of the sort of areas that are, you know, points of no return. Well, like, that's not what it's called, like a blind end. Now, usually, again, if you have to, then you dodge this way. You simply keep trying to control the boss, and do the dodge, and then look one way, do a dodge, look another way. Do a dodge, look one way, do a dodge, look another way, and put jumps in between depending on your dodge, your amount of effective dodges, right? And the reason it's a good idea, as I am also going to explain more about in the Athlete and Louis video, is that by constantly switching from one side to the other, you get a brief moment of navigation, right? But normally when I drop down here, the first thing I do if I don't get a boss is I move in here, grab items. Now, this is sort of a fake good spot to fight, because what people don't realize is up there, minions can actually drop down behind you, right? Now, because I it's ingrained into me when I'm not fighting stuff and going through a map, and I'm playing the Battle Wizard. I won't be playing the Battle Wizard in the future, okay? In other videos, because in the other map, technical map guides, because I could not, like, I had to cut out so much stuff just because I couldn't help myself from looking for new glitch spots. And like, I don't know if this spot is useless or anything. I've never been in here before, and I thought, I wonder if, you know, and sorry, I can't help it, I just do that. I kept this one in, and one other, just because I felt like it was good for explaining, yeah, why I won't be playing the Battle Wizard in the other videos. You know, I was like, I wonder if, and then I thought, nah, you know, I better cut it short here. Like, I wonder if this is useful. I don't know, but maybe you guys find out. I guess you can do with this spot what you want. Did I really go this far? Guess I did. I think I'm about to go back. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, do with that spot what you want. I have no idea if it's useful. But yeah, I will go in here. I will grab items. If there's a horde, I will sort of fight it from there if I have to. But you want to watch your back, right? Then I usually go and I move. I turn on the torch on the other side. And then I move the opposite direction, right? So I go right, grab items, light on the brazier. And then I go to the left instead. In order to, again, light all the braziers and find as many items as possible. So regardless of the difficulty, it's advantageous to sort of explore the whole area and grab all the items. Now, this area here, you sometimes get a boss spawn as well. If you do, you fall back to the previous area. That's very important. You don't want to fight a boss in here because there's no proper rotation spots. So unless you can nuke the boss down in no time, you don't want to be here while you're fighting a boss. Now, there's a potion spawn on the ground here as well. And you obviously want to check both sides. Now, you're fairly vulnerable down here. This is not a spot you want to be in. It's a spot you go to grab items, and then you get the hell out. Tome right here, of course. So down here, you can go two to each side. That's one way to do it. But you don't want to be down here, right? You go down here, grab items out of necessity, and then you get up as quickly as possible so you don't get stuck there during a horde. Now, I think a lot of players, myself included, when I started out true soloing and had no torch, I remember that this one brazier in particular eluded me for a while. Like, there were a few times where I couldn't find it, but it's actually really easy to find. It's on the right side. I forgot what I was doing here. Anyways, I'll show you guys, even with no lighting, right? I can't light, but oops, if you throw these down here, even without lighting, you should be able to find this one on the right side. Now, it's just right in here, and you see on the right, you see that white? That's what you go for. And it seems so easy to find it, yet it cost me to get lost so many times when I was true soloing this map for the first time, which is ages ago, but nonetheless. Also here, you have a really great glitch spot, and it's one of those that I don't feel bad about showing you or using, because it feels so obvious, no glitching required, that I feel like that's on Fat Shark. Nothing negative meant about that, but I feel like this has to be okay to show, because, you know, it's kind of hard. I mean, you're not really doing anything wrong by walking in here, right? As a last move of desperate defense, that's how I figured that out. I wasn't even looking for a glitch, but so anyways, that's a really good spot for someone to be in, just to, you know, keep both sides. And this is a spot where you want to fight if you get a horde. Then you have a drop down area here, and the last patrol trigger before the event. Then you obviously light this brazier here. I forgot why the hell I flew in here. Oh yeah. Anyways, minions obviously can come from there. I think. What am I doing? Oh yeah. Of course, I was showing the patrol trigger where it spawns. Duh. Now, this is not an area that's accessible by players. It's sort of a middling. I mean, it is actually if you're the battle wizard, but technically it's not accessible. Let's stick to that. Now, once you drop down, you want to check both the right and the left side here, because both of them have potential item spawns. And then you simply move here, open here, grab your healing. Now there's an art spawn over here by this right there, so you want to check that. You always, if you have plenty of healing, right, then you always want to leave the spawn that's up on the little pillar, because that one is actually accessible from the bottom, which means there's no need to grab it. If everyone has a healing, or maybe someone's dead, right, and they can't grab one, then you just leave it up there, and they can pick it up after you revive them. That's another little neat trick. That's good to know. Now, you have most lighting on the front side, over here. So, and what I like to do is actually throw the torch in the opposite end, like the opposite. Yes, I can't help myself. It wasn't even something that I knew. I just can't help myself from trying to glitch out in out places when I'm the battle wizard. So like, but no, like often what you want to do is you want to pull the torch in the opposite corner, and usually you're gonna have one or two teammates that are just standing up on the fence, which is not called a fence, the gate, and sort of smashing. So I actually like to do the opposite and fight it on the opposite side, simply because most players are gonna be on the front. And for that reason, it can be advantageous if 3 players are on the front that you make sure that to clear their backs. So that's a good tactic. You don't have to, but that's one way to do it. Obviously, you're gonna fight here. Now, as soon as this gate is up, and I think most players know this by now, but if you don't, whatever you do, do not fall down. Okay, don't drop down. Like, a bunch of monks are about to rush you. Like, a lot of shit is gonna come your way, and there is absolutely zero reason to jump down immediately. You're gonna wait for everything to come up. You're gonna try to fight it as it comes up. If you have to, you fall back into the previous area, right? I fucked up that block there, but it's okay to fall back in here. In fact, it's way better to do so. It's advantageous because your back is gonna be clear. Okay, because all of these minions from this event spawn in the next area, so your back is clear. And for that reason, you might as well fall back. You clear out the worst, like, and then you can jump down, right? You take out the worst, jump down, light up this brazier first. Now, me personally, I prefer going and sticking really to the right side, at least when I'm in trouble. If I'm feeling, confident, then I'll go wherever I want. But in general, what you want to watch out for is this area up here, where minions can drop down from. But even so, being underneath it is still... It still feels safer for some reason. So I like to throw a torch here where it is now. That gives me sort of halfway lighting. Stuff is not gonna come from up there. Then you light this brazier over here, of course. And yeah, I don't know, I just feel like this side is safer, because the problem about the opposite side is you have minion spawns coming from literally every area up there. Spawns are gonna come down, potentially. There's a whole sort of hidden area in there that I cut out because the video was getting too long. Now, obviously in here, usually not a lot spawns in here. You just fight wherever. It's not that important. Stuff doesn't come from the left side. There's an item spawn in there as well. Now, if you activated all braziers, so that is still, if you lit all the braziers, then you're gonna see this door here on the right side being open. Looks like a little demonic ritual was going on here. And down here you will find the grimoire.
Then again, they normally come with 2 legs. Darling,
Lower that a little bit. Now, usually when you get to this area, it's a good idea to clear. Like a bunch of stuff is gonna come running down from here. So don't rush out. You don't have to rush out. There's no hurry. And watch out, because specials and minions can drop down from up there. So you'll go out, and next thing you know, a minion is behind you. So you really want to watch out for that. Also, obviously you want the items that are down there. But this, as an area, is not a great place to fight. You really want to watch out down here. Because obviously you can get pushed out to all sides, which makes it a really, really dangerous position to be in. And for that reason, I don't suggest sticking around here for long. Jump down, grab your items, stay here for only as long as you absolutely need to in order to safely get up the ladder. You can see clearly I didn't cut out all of my... I'm sorry. I'm curious. It's not even that I want to... I'm just curious. I wonder if you can... Oh, no, stay on track, Michael. Stay on track. We're doing other stuff right now. Stay on track. So anyways, what you want to do is, if you're playing it as safe as possible, right, which is not something I expect that you do or necessarily should, but it's always good to know, like a good way of looking at it, you have to be able to play a default of as safe as possible before it makes sense to deviate from that, right? Because, that's sort of, in a lot of competitive games, that's the way teams look at it. first you learn how to play absolute default, absolute basic, safest, most boring way possible, right? And once you sort of know that you can do that, then you deviate from that. Then you get to learn when is it okay to deviate, when is it advantageous to deviate, and so on, right? So that's why I'm telling you the absolute sort of safest way, as I see it, is to move straight up here. Straight up here, clearing, fighting from up here, and once you've cleared this area here, then you jump down and get the items. That would be my way of looking at it. Obviously you can jump up here, which again makes for great positioning as a battle wizard or a ranged hero, a ranged DPS. Always check for item spawn here on the right side right there. And never move further forward than here, because that's when minions can drop down behind you. So don't push further ahead before your team has caught up. And once your team has caught up and you start moving forward, then you move all the way forward and drop down. Obviously you wait for your team, because you want to make sure that they can actually get up there and then drop down. This whole wall here is safe from minions, right? So your back, as long as you follow this wall here, your back is entirely 100% safe, okay? Nothing's going to come out from behind, even in areas where it looks like they can. Right, like here, it looks like it, but no minions are going to spawn there. And this is also the best place in the area to fight any bosses that you trigger. Again, because you have this huge flat and open space. Whereas once you move forward here, always check for items on the right side here as well. Once you move to this area, it gets a bit convoluted, right? There's a bunch of carts and a bunch of, and all of them, they're blocking your vision. They're easy to get stuck on. So really, you want to be careful with patrols and bosses. You want to drag them back if you can, and fight them in the open area around the humongous tree. Also, I should mention, yeah, the orange ones are patrols, and the red ones are bosses. Just should have probably mentioned that earlier, but now you know. Now, I like to go up here, but it's also dangerous. But there are a bunch of item spawns up here, where I just showed a second ago. There's, as you can see, a pod here, potentially a pod here, and the chest here, right? So I like to do a quick sweep up here for items, just really quickly check for items up to the chest, and then immediately fall back and down to my team. Your team is usually going to go straight in for the tome, so you can just drop down and do that, right? But don't only do it if you're comfortable with it, right? You don't want to be up there alone for too long. Now the tome is in here. You quite often have the ammo spawn in here. It's not always there. It's not a fixed spawn, but I feel like there's always ammo in here, like most of the time. Also, there's an item spawn further down the room here on the left side. You can see right here, well, 2 bombs. That's easy to miss. Minions don't come behind there, so sort of in these tunnels you are safe from everything but the 2 sides. 2 boss triggers there. Now obviously there's a bunch of boss triggers here. Now this is not a great area, as mentioned, to fight a boss in. So preferably you want to move back here and fight the boss here. Now one really good area to sort of get the boss to like force a long animation is to run up here, because the boss has to run all the way around here. The boss can't just jump over here, which makes it a really useful sort of move to get a bit of extra space and put some distance between you and the boss. Right, so if you're dodging behind here, you want to do something like this, like look forward, then backwards, forward, backwards, jump over here, and boom, the boss has to go all the way around. That gives you enough time, if you're quick, actually to even move up here, and keep dodging, then you can sort of jump here, and up here, and you can, whoops, and you see, that's one way to sort of, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't recommend it if you're not feeling comfortable with it, because it is a bit of a risky maneuver, but it's good to know that you can do that. Generally, you want to stay away from this part down here. Down there is very dangerous, very dangerous. Why? Because first of all, it's super easy to get stuck, right? It's super easy to get completely locked in there, especially versus a boss. So generally, you just don't want to go down there until everything is clear, and then you can go down there and then up again, right? It's just a risky area altogether, because it's really hard to get up a ladder once there's enough minions, and the staircase is, yeah, very narrow, and you don't have any high ground, which makes it even harder. So stuff is gonna jump down from up top, and yeah, that's just, you're gonna have a bad time, okay? If you go that way, you're gonna have a bad time. It's just the way it is. Anyways, you wanna go here, and then you wanna rush your teammates. Or leave them, if you don't like them. No, don't do that. Anyways, yeah, so generally speaking, when I get to this area, unless there's someone you need to rest further ahead, then you obviously go rest them. But personally, I really like going to the right here. Usually I'm alone when I go to the right here. And a decent spot to fight in from here is this spot right here. Again, everything is isolated on one side. It's a little bit susceptible to gas rats and the Blightstormers, but not terribly so. But once you've cleared out that spot, then you can move down quickly and back up if there's an item down there you need. Of course, you're always going to check the 2 chests here. Now, you can also go the other route. Just jump down, open the chests, go back up. That's another way to do it, which is totally reasonable. Minions come from up there. Go Fifi. And once you get to this area here, this is actually where you want to fight, surprisingly. I think a lot of players think that they're supposed to fight here, which isn't terrible in of itself, but it's not as good as you might think, for a couple of reasons. First of all, you can't actually jump over these railings here unless you jump up in the barrels, so that's also really good to know, so you don't fool yourself. Even a perfect crouch jump here, you're not going to get over. The only way to get over is with an ability that can actually put you over. And of course the barrels, right? But stuff can also drop down from the sides here. It doesn't look like it, but it can. So your back is not completely 100% safe. That's important to know. Which is why I personally prefer fighting from down there. Now, there's a challenge which says that you have to reimburse someone. I forgot who. But it's good to know that if you want to do that challenge, this is the way to go about it. And this is, yeah, the only way to do it as far as I know. So there's a little bit of a jump puzzle here. You want to get as far back as possible. Do a crouch jump over on this box here. And then you want to jump over on this box here. Then you go up here. Now this next one is the one that's a bit tricky. Sort of getting up here, because there's a bit of weird stuff behind you that you can't really see. And from here, you want to sort of go a little bit left, and then you want to aim. You can't tell... Like, if you have if you are the battle wizard, then you want to consider just using that spell. But otherwise, you want to jump to the left of the middle pillar, because quite often, if you don't do that properly, then you'll hit the pillar and then you'll fall down. And once you're up here, it's pretty straightforward. You simply want to move along the wooden planks over here, and boom, reimburse. And assuming you win the map, that's the challenge done. Just thought I would mention that on the fly. Now back up here, you obviously want to wait for your team. What I like to do actually is aggro as many of the ambient spawns that I can see here as possible to me. Right, so you fight them when they're crawling up instead of just rushing down. That's really advantageous. That way it's almost clear when you jump down. Now, a lot of people like to go left, and I think there's nothing wrong with going left. Left seems like a safe option as well, but personally, just me, I always prefer going right. Now, I skip the items here for now. I move right up this staircase here, and usually if I wasn't retarded here, I like to position myself over here, oddly enough. But it's actually fairly decent, because minions don't crawl up here on the left, it seems. They prefer going around, which... don't hold me up on that, but as far as I recall, minions just don't crawl up. They go around, which means it's a really good way to sort of a semi-good position at the very least. Then I like to go right here, check all these areas for items. The back wall here also has items. There's also an art spawn further back in this area. As a chest there. I believe there's also a chest here and an art spawn as well. Then you also have an art spawn on the right side here, I believe. And this is a really good spot to fight. Not right here. one moment. I'll get to it momentarily. But then, you know, assuming there's room for it, I like to jump down here, then get these 2 crates here, because obviously you want to get those. There's also a potion spawn underneath me, as well as a respawn location right underneath this wooden plank. Right down there. Now, but the good spot to fight in is here. Your back is completely safe here. You have sort of the perfect amount of both room, yet, you know, isolation, right? So it's not a tunnel where if a gas rat throws something, you're completely screwed. So there's room to move, yet you have isolated angles, right? So that makes it a really good spot to fight. Now, always check the left side of the staircase. People forget this item spawn so often. Sometimes myself included. And right after it, there's another one to the left that people also forget really often. So that's also good to know. Then there's this item spawn over here, which most people know about, but it's a bit risky. So you want to really watch out when you go over here, because minions can drop down behind you. So you'll go here, you'll grab an item, and before you know it, there are 2 storm vermins behind you, right? And one of them heavy attacking you in the face, so watch out for that. Now, the single best fight location in this entire map, by far, in fact, I think the single best fight location in almost any map, I wouldn't say in any, but in almost any map, is up here. No spawns behind you, no spawns to the side. You have a perfect high ground combined with a hedge, like you see on the right side. Like, minions can only come up from the staircase. So the right side is barred off, which means not only do you have the high ground here, but you have half a wall where minions cannot get up, but where you can get down, which means it is nearly impossible to get squished in here. And there's enough room on this that you could have a Blightstormer, you could have a gas rat, and you could get around it, you could jump around it, right? So this is one of the best fighting locations in the game, at all, whatsoever. The whole area is safe all the way around you, and you just hold down here. Which means this is the default spot to fall back on if shit hits the fan. And as I say, here, they can't get up. They can't jump up here. So here you can always get out. Right? Even if you're solo, you can run up here, you have a boss behind you, you wait until it's up here, you jump down, it has to go around. Right? Even if you're all the way here, and you feel like you're in trouble, this is the default spot to fall back on. Now, oh yeah, I forgot about it. I'm also gonna... I mean, it's a tree. Trees are cool to be in. I never showed you this. You have not seen this from me. You have not heard about this. I'm not going to show you all the spots you could go to from here. But there's a lot... Let me just put it this way. There's a lot of fun places you can go to from here, okay? Not necessarily all of which are useful, but there's a lot of fun places. You see? Like a bunch of roofs, a bunch of, you know... you can get to some really interesting places, let's just put it that way. Now, watch out for Blightstormers on that roof over there. And if you can, always try to fight a place where you have a railing, right? Because you see the railing starts, stops, starts, stops. If you're a battle wizard, you use the railing to push stuff off. But always try to... try not to stop in a spot where there's no railing. And obviously minions also come from above here, from the wooden platforms above. And you have 2 patrol triggers here. And this is a decent spot to fight a patrol in, actually. It's not terribly bad. Nothing is going to drop down straight on you from the top. You can also be over here. It's a bit isolated here, which is the dangerous part. If a gas rat hits you there, then you can be in trouble. But it's a good space to fight just a bunch of elites. Now, we're just going to fly up a little bit here, because I think it's advantageous always to have a better 3-dimensional picture of what the structure of the map actually is, because quite often the view is skewed from down below. And I really think that can be an advantage, if I could speak English, to sort of see parts of the map from above and sort of gain a better understanding of the geometry of the map. So you move up here, go around there, up to the tree, around here on the outside. And that's the platform where minions can spawn on top of, and then you get to this area here, right? Now, you have 3 paths you can take here. First, up the ladder. That's the path you're gonna go for the Grim. Specials can come from behind me right now, the other side, over there. So watch out for that. Don't jump down like that. Then there's straight, obviously. I really like to check this area here. Now that's dangerous, but very few people go here. And there's item spawn in here. You can push minions down over on the other side, which also means you can fall down, like, just to be clear. And then there's a ladder up here. That didn't work. Obviously, you can also go straight. That's pretty obvious. But the problem about going straight is minions can drop down from above you, which makes it a risky path. So if you're gonna get the Grim, that's up here. You sneak in here. Smash this one here, and then you simply do a jump over on this pillar, and you just drop down there. And that's the second Grim. Now, in terms of which direction you go once you reach this area here, again, you can, if you're a full team, you can go straight as a team. Nothing wrong with that, especially if you have items. But if you lack items, at least one person should check down below. Up above, there aren't that many spawns, item spawns. I actually don't think there's a single one. There could be one, but I don't think so. And so here I prefer going left, simply because the positioning is better. There's more item spawns. There's right there. There's an item spawn, or is it an art spawn? Yeah, there's an art spawn down there as well somewhere. And then obviously you have a respawn location here. Now this might look like a safe corner, but it's not. Minions can actually, I seem to recall, minions can drop down from up here if you're unlucky. Don't hold me up on that. Now, no, wait, I'm thinking it's because in Weaves, there's a fence there, and minions crawl over the fence. That's why I'm thinking. So forget what I just said. Minions don't come from up there. They do come from up there, though, sometimes. Although, that's only a special. Hordes and stuff, front and back. But specials can jump down from the wooden platform up on the right side here. Now, obviously, this is a pretty decent area to fight in, because there's loads of room, as you can see.
Ashes and ruin. I'm all alone.
Not sure what I was doing there. Anyways, so you move up here. You aggro everything in this area up here. This is a decent place to fight. Now minions come over that wooden board over there, so be careful, the fence on the right side. Now here is a really crucial point. This is the last place where teams often wipe. This is the most dangerous area in the whole map, I think. If there's anything worse, then it might be the dark with the wrong boss spawn, right? But if anything, then this is the second most. But I actually find this to be worse. At least if you get the boss, right? Now here you always want to wait for your team. You don't drop down prematurely here. Because what happens in this area is if you get the wrong boss spawn, you can really get cornered in, or a patrol for that matter. Now, if you get a boss here, sometimes it comes from further ahead, like where I just spawned the red ogre. Sometimes it comes from the right side, from the gate that you're trying to get through. Now, the problem that arises is that you don't have much room. If the boss is coming from your front, you have to fall back. But back is nowhere to go. There's a point of no return. Now, your best chance of successfully aggroing a boss here without dying, if if no one else is there to take aggro, is to get around here. Have to wait. I mean, even if you have to take a hit, that's worth it. Because otherwise you're going to get trapped in, you're going to get sandwiched, and you're going to die. So it's worth it even if you take a hit to sort of get around right there. That's the only spot you have where it's viable to get around properly. I'm not saying it's not doable if you keep going, but it only gets harder from here. So yeah, and then if you can, if it's at all possible, then preferably you want to move all the way out to this area. Not here, this is just me down here. This is where you want to fight the boss, if possible. Not always possible. Sometimes you just have to burst the boss and accept that we're not coordinated. We have to fight the boss there. That's also fine, but if you can, if you have aggro on the boss, I mean, preferably what you want to do with teamwork, of course, is someone's going to have aggro. They're going to fall back into the area that's really dangerous I just talked about. And then you're going to think, they're going to die there. Let me take aggro. And then you're already on the right side of the boss and you drag the boss over here, right? That's preferably how you want to do it. But again, that's not always possible in solo queue. I'm not going to kill the entire boss. At least I seem to recall that I got bored after a moment. Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously people, they respawn here, right outside the gate. And you're gonna get a lot of specials here as well. Like, once you hit this area, there's a lot of special triggers as well. So expect that. And again, you can see patrol triggers, boss triggers, all of the final ones are here. Now, did I accidentally cut out where I showed the tome location? So I did spend a lot of extra time there. Maybe I cut that out. I'll show you when we get back to it. Most of you probably know, but I'll show you when we get back. Now, there are the way this area works is there are 3 potential spawn locations for the key. It's random which one spawns, so there's no way to know which of the 3. And there's honestly good reasons to check all 3, even if you get it on the first. Now, this is obviously, as you can see, the first spawn. If you don't pick up the key after for a certain amount of time after entering the area, then you'll see the mission icon showcasing where it is, which is why it's not a problem to find it ever. Now, always check down here for items. So I like to check the spot I was just in and picked up the key. Then I like to jump down here and go for a quick item check on the shelves here. Move up here, and then instead of going up there, you have the 3rd spawn location. If you just follow the right side here and just keep following the right side all the way down here. There's also an item spawn here on the floor. And then you have the final key position here, somewhere on the ground. And you move back. It was right over there. And you simply move back up here. And there's one more item spawn, which is down below. Might as well show it just to get the lot. Then you fly into that building. No. Once you've cleared that area, you obviously move back to the end event. Looks like he's jerking off, but now the tome is right over there. Wait, that's good enough. Sienna, you don't need him. No. The tome is right over there, where I have my mouse right now. So it's right over there. In case I don't showcase that. Guess it got cut out. Move in here. You grab the items, of course. There's a point of no return here. And here we have the end event. Now, I remember having to do the legend challenge. And my god, was it a struggle. I think it's one of the challenges that took me the most tries. Not because... I mean, it's not an easy one, but it's also not an inherently hard one. It's an inconsistent one. And it's really hard to get people to do the thing properly. If you're doing the challenge, there is... I mean, I'll make it more detailed. Never mind. I'll make a more detailed guide on all of the legend challenges. But essentially what you want to do, I'll give the short version. Put one person at each... like there are five locations where you get one of these activations. Put one player per activation spot with one spot open. So you have one player that has to be able to cover 2 spots within 5 seconds. Or is it 3? I think it's 3. Within 3 seconds. So preferably a handmaiden. And then once you get the first trigger, if it's the person who has 2 triggers who gets one of theirs, then you're good. Now everyone has 1. And if it's not the person with 2, then whoever gets it activates it and then moves to one of the 2, so that now again everyone has 1. And that's how you do it. And of course, every time you get a trigger, you move to support your teammates on the other triggers. But this is the first one. The second one is not here. It's on the right side. I remembered wrongfully, but I'm going to activate it later, so it doesn't matter. I have the button over here. The torch here. And the book up here. Those are the 5 areas. All 5 areas will be activatable once and only once in a completely random order. Now, my favorite default spot is down here. I think this is the safest area in the whole building to sort of fight stuff. A lot of people, they fight from up here. Again, which is fine. Stick with your team. If your team is up here, you shouldn't be down there necessarily, right? At least not once things get tough. Now, as you can see, you can't jump over this fence here. But there are two ways to actually do it, because you're going to get bombarded with minions here, sometimes monks. It's a really good idea to know how to get above the fence when you really need to, right? Chaos warriors are going to come. You can even do it from here, although that's a little bit harder. Takes a little bit more practice, but it's doable. You can also get back up here. That's also useful to know. Saved my life in Onslaught once. Now, it used to be the case, thankfully is no more, that you could just walk straight up to this gate, do a little flick movement, and teleport through it. Thankfully, that's no longer the case. Now, gonna show you guys a little exploit, but honestly, it's not even worth using. Okay, I genuinely mean that. Like when I researched this one ages ago, like this is something I've known for ages, literally since the map came out. It was one of the first things I tried, because I saw the opportunity here, and I just spent hours trying to figure out if you could get it to work, especially with a handmaiden. Now this works with Zealot, handmaiden, and the battle wizard, but it's more of a fun trick than it is an actual viable strategy, right? Unless you're doing true solo, then I guess it could be worth it, right? But just don't do it for that, okay? Because it's really just not worth it. Your team will hate you. Trust me. It's not worth risking the game just to go up here. So unless you have a full pre-made team and you want to try out something fun, and it is fun if you want to do that, then that's when you should do it, right? Because you have to go all the way around here. You can actually crouch jump up here. You need an ability to get over this fence. So jump and then ulti if you're playing handmaiden or zealot. And that way you can get up here. Now, from here you can get up on the bookshelves. Now, the way to actually skip is once you're up here, you move up on this bookshelf up here. And from this one, you can actually, with a handmaiden ability or zealot or battlers, you can get over here. Now, over here is where it gets interesting, right? Because if I were to release my teleport right around here, yep, it's a little bit more scary when with a handmaiden, but it's it's doable. I don't know. I just find this skip interesting, like because the amount of things you have to do, especially if you're the handmaiden, it's not an easy one to pull off by any means. So, but yeah, try it out at your own peril. Now, once you activate the event, exactly 30 seconds pass between each of the and you can see here, it's the book on the right side. Exactly 30 seconds pass from activating one of the buttons until the next one becomes available. Exactly 30 seconds, right? So I just click that book. Exactly 30 seconds are going to pass, and then the next one is going to be clickable, okay? And that's really important to know if you're doing the challenge as well. Now, obviously, I got that one on the right side. That's also just basic math. I got that one on there are 2 on the right side, 3 on the left side. I got 1 on the right as the first one, which means mathematically, statistically speaking, it's more likely that we're going to get one on the left side now, which is why I would move to the left in that scenario. We got the one on the right. Of course. What else? No, but when you're getting the one on the right side, usually I like to fight up here, wait for all the minions to crawl up, then jump down, activate it, and get the hell back. Okay, because that's the most dangerous one. Of all of the buttons, that's the most dangerous one to actually get to, in my opinion. And dumb as I am, I even try to jump over the fence that I just explained. You can't jump over. Because big brain, big brain. Now this is the area I would hold with a handmaiden if I was doing the challenge, because here you're only one ulti away from either. Oh, with a handmaiden for that battle wizard for that matter. Let me know if it's too distracting that I'm playing around with this. I hope not. Now again, yeah, as I mentioned, I like to actually do it from this side here, fight here. That way you're covering both the two spawns on that side, like when none of them have activated yet. So that's my default location on that side. And you already know my default location on the left side. That's down by the staircase. Obviously, if you're doing the challenge, one person has to be up here already, but this is the final button, and people have to, like, minions are going to drop down from that area where we were glitching to before, so watch out for that. Now, the way to get up on this is, you know, easy. The ladder can literally kill you when you're trying to get down here, so watch out for that. One thing you can also do is jump over here, if you will get stuck here. And the final button is the one over here. I know I said it was the other one, but it wasn't. And those are the 5 activation buttons. Now, as I said, 30 seconds in between them. Once you activate the last one, I believe it's another 30 seconds until you can, you know, until this animation is finished. Might be more. But a lot of stuff spawns once you activated the last one. Obviously, once it opens, you have to get on top of the Blightreaper to show the Blightreaper who's boss. Very important. No, I'm just kidding. I can't help myself when I do this. I'm like, I wonder what if. So forget all about that. Okay? There'll be no glitches in the next one on Athley and Louis, which is the next most upvoted one. So that's, for that reason, that's the one we're gonna do. Now, obviously, you rush, once you pick up the Blightreaper, you rush to the end. But just to show you guys one more time here, once you're up here, there's actually a ledge you can stand on, and then, yeah. Woo! And that's it. That's how you pull a party knife on the Blightreaper. Which is a wannabe knife. No. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know this was a long one, but this is also a very complicated map. Loads of things to talk about. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, maybe even click that little ring notification bell. And as always, I love you guys. Stay awesome. See you next time. Peace out.